Winston Churchill famously said that if you put two economists in a room, you end up with two different opinions. He joked that if one of those two economists is John Maynard Keynes, you end up with at least three opinions. But his joke aside, the point remains valid decades later, even today. If you put economists in a room and ask them about monetary policy, fiscal policy, you'll get a wide range of often very conflicting opinions. But there is one issue where there seems to be more of a consensus among economists, and that's immigration. There was a study in the US towards the end of the last century that asked a range of economists what they thought about immigration during the century and whether it had a good or bad effect on US growth. 81% said it had a very favourable effect on US growth, and 19% said it had a slightly favourable effect. Now, you'll note that that adds up to 100, and incredibly, not a single person in the survey said that it had a bad effect or even a negligible effect. Now, of course, that's different to other scenarios you get in the world, and I'm not suggesting that all economists are always pro-open borders all the time. But there does seem to be some kind of more of a consensus on this issue, and lots of economists have been unhappy with the UK government's policy of trying to strongly reduce net immigration. So, why is this so different to what the public think about the issue? There are surveys that show the public ranks this as the second biggest concern, immigration, behind the economy, even ahead of unemployment. They think it's even more of a problem. And one issue, I think, obviously you have some non-economic views which come into play, but also there's a problem with misinformation. There's an OECD survey that showed that over half of people think that immigrants take up more in taxes, in benefits rather, than they pay in taxes, when in fact the OECD found that's not the case, and that immigrants tend to take and pay about the same amount as native-born people. Also, there's a tendency to massively overestimate immigration. So in the UK, there were polls showing that people think that 31% of the population are foreign-born, when of course it's nowhere near that. It's actually closer to 13%. There are other issues as well. Economists often scream about the lump of labour fallacy, where people seem to think there's a set number of jobs, and if you have immigration, then those jobs are taken by the immigrants, when really that's not how it works, and if you have a higher population of active people, jobs are created. Anyway, irrespective of all these things, immigration remains an issue where if you put people in a room, you will, like the original example, get a real clash of views, lots of different opinions, often very strong ones. But for those of us who think that immigration has benefits, there's really an obligation to take this kind of facts that I mentioned and the arguments and put them forward to the public in a calm and informative way. Some business groups do that already. The London Chambers of Commerce is one example. But really, this is one case where that kind of information and that kind of argument needs to be got across a lot more often.